Hey yo, let's yap about Warhammer, specifically the Necrons. I've loosely been interested in the Warhammer 40k franchise since I first discovered it as a teenager, and the first ever mini I bought for my Warhammer journey was the old metal Necron Lord model. Then I found a free box of the Battle of McCraig set, and focused on collecting Space Marines for a while, styling them as Black Templar, but that's a story for another time. It wasn't until towards the end of 2025 that I properly started building up my own dynasty in the Infinite Empire. These days, I've really been sinking my teeth into this hobby. Like, seriously, it's far too easy for me to lose hours getting engrossed in the building and the painting of minis, but I have kind of been needing that lately. While I do still have most of that old Necron Lord, his place in my collection is more as a test unit for paint schemes. Pictured here with an alternate scheme that I didn't end up using. Maybe I'll turn it into a statue for terrain. Instead, I started off my army with the Necron Combat Patrol. On its own, the current Combat Patrol is a fairly decent entry point for building an army. It gets you 19 models total, including one Overlord with a once per game nuke of a ranged single attack, which is pretty nifty, 10 Necron Warriors, which are your standard battle line infantry, 3 Scarab Swarms, which are handy little guys to keep an opponent's unit tied up off of the objectives, 3 Scorpec Destroyers and 1 Plasmacite token, very, very solid melee units, and finally, the one and only Casino Cannon, aka the Canoptech Doomstalker. The cannon of the Doomstalker gets its fan dub title due to getting to roll a lot of dice for an attack. A single Casino Cannon can one-shot most units, aside from the biggest and tankiest boys. Or 3 Doomstalkers can fail to kill a single Imperial Guard squad. Or, in my case, it can fail to land a single wound in an entire game. Goddamn Cuckstalker. First attack of a game, rolls max hits. Hell yeah! Against my wife's warp spiders. They look nice, by the way. Then, I proceeded to roll 5 ones on 2-up wounds. I should have re-rolled that, but I was in shock, so I just moved on quickly, plus new to the game. Then, it couldn't even hold the final objective for the win because it literally got cucked by my wife's Dire Avengers, the same squad it was shooting at for the majority of that game. Like, every turn after the first. Hence, the nickname Cuckstalker has stuck. I need to get a tiny chair to hide somewhere on the base. I am going to be salty, but laughing about that one for a long while. Now, for my painting scheme, I used the Nihilek Dynasty for inspiration, but I'm not the biggest fan of teal, so I opted for a royal blue. I found the subdued blue adds some of my favorite color and really helps that gold pop. Turns out I essentially just used the Thok Dynasty scheme, but with more gold and a green glow instead of blue. I consider my army to be its own dynasty, but I do need to come up with a proper name for it. Feel free to suggest dynasty names in the comments. Please, I'm drawing a blank. Overall, the Necron Combat Patrol starts you off with a modest 445 total points, almost a quarter of the standard 2,000 point army. So, like I said, not too bad to start with. Once my Combat Patrol was done, I put together a couple character units. The first being Trazen the Infinite. I love him so much in the lore, but do not care for his current rules. Or model? What the hell is with that Trazen model? That cast wasn't fine at all. If you want to find out more about him and have the rare ability to pick up a fucking book, check out The Infinite and Divine by Robert Rath. Alternate cover fan art done by SyberFab. Link in the description. After Trazen, the first mini I painted for the new year was my Hexmark Destroyer. Oh, I love him so very, very much. And with all the effort I put into that base, I found myself needing to revisit my entire army to get their bases up to par with the Hexmark. I'm definitely carrying this forward with all of my army as I build them. I'm so happy I went with this Tundra look. The snow just turned out... oh, French kiss. Also, I was super worried about getting the glow right, but I think I did a pretty decent job in the end. It's too bad I don't have a proper photography setup, and my camera is pretty shit. So pictures really don't do it justice. Something to build towards in the future, it seems. In terms of utility, the Hexmark Destroyer does pretty well. Able to deep strike, 6 pistols, which can all be fired in melee. Overwatch once per turn for free, which is just free shooting the opponent. And the Lone Operative keyword, which means the opponent needs to be within 12 inches to even be able to shoot at him. Hell, with the right circumstances, the Gloctopus can shoot 4 times in 1 turn. I'm so glad I have one of these guys in my army. Now all he needs is a little cowboy hat. And maybe a spring. God, I've really fallen in love with the Destroyer cult after building my Scorpex. And with Necrosaur Amentar out now, I think I'm gonna build a Destroyer army. And in fact, there have been a lot of goodies coming out lately for the Destroyer cult. Well, let's see what Reddit thinks about starting a Destroyer army. Oh. Well, I guess I really am a basic bitch. Story time. If I get anything wrong, please correct me in the comments. Now, the Necrons are a post-doomed race. Perfect for the grimdark setting. Basically, 60 million years ago, they were a biological race called the Necrontyr, who lived on a small planet and constantly got super cancer from their sun. And during the aptly named War on Heaven, they were fighting with the old gods and Eldar, and I think Orc predecessors, and made a deal with this friendly dude named the Deceiver, which, to be fair, is how he came to be known after his silly little prank. No one really knows his true name, because it was lost to time. And fuck that guy. Don't correct me. The Deceiver essentially tricked the Necrontyr ruler into getting all the Necrontyr to go through something called biotransference. You know those Heaven's Gate type mass suicide cults? Drink the Kool-Aid and get this sick ghost body or something? Yeah, it's kind of like that if it worked. But instead of ethereal bodies, They were given sick, nasty robot bodies. That is how the Necron tier became the Necron and turned their weak, warm-blooded biology into cold, unfeeling, living metal. They're not dead, but they're not alive, and were forced to be slaves to the Satan, a race of godlike beings made of energy. I think. The Deceiver is one of them. Eventually, the Necrons managed to literally kill the old gods and shatter the Satan into tiny shards. Which is why, like, every Necron army can have Satan in it. Like, the Nightbringer that cooled Grim Reaper with the scythe, everybody knows that one. Everybody can have one if they want. After winning the War on Heaven, the Necrons did not want to deal with the Eldar or the Orc predecessors, so they entered the Great Sleep, hoping to outlast their enemy, but that plan didn't quite work, and things got worse. Most Necron tier became your standard warriors, which are mostly just mindless automatons. But the nobles and higher ranking Necron tier got to keep more of their minds and personalities. Some remained the same as their biological counterparts, some changed, some had severe panic attacks, and others were warped beyond recognition. Some of the more warped were those that ended up becoming Destroyer cult. The Destroyers are victims to a mind rage virus that gives them the urge to kill anything alive. So they are kept locked away until the time their singular desire can be put to use. Destroyers will either be killed or continue killing any living organism on the planet. Combat threats, civilians, animals, trees, blades of grass. Even microorganisms aren't safe from a destroyer. Real taking my ball and going home type energy. I love it. The destroyer virus is so threatening to Necrons that any transport used to bring in destroyers is usually also disposed of to prevent any risk of the virus spreading. In fairness, I'm not really sure if it even is contagious, but the Necrons sure think it is. With the army I have mentioned thus far, it's sitting at 595 points, 655 with these death marks, very handy long-range support / objective gremlins. They get to overwatch anything that deep strikes within their line of sight. Oh, I love them. My amazing wife also gifted me with a second combat patrol to fill out my ranks. So that brings the point total to just over 1,000 points once that's all finished. I get the feeling she felt somewhat obligated to help me hit 1,000 points because she's beat me in every single game we've played so far of combat patrols. She may be 5-0 against me, but that's okay because I'm very petty and I will have my revenge. While I have mostly completed the second combat patrol, I haven't built the second Overlord yet, because I have very big plans for a conversion. My dynasty needs its matriarch. I'm also trying to get my cold dead fingers on a second-hand Necron army, and that should bring my point total to well over 3,000 points. If that plan does go through, you guys will definitely get an update video showcasing exactly what I have battle ready. For now though, only a few members of the Briley dynasty have awoken, with plans to set off many, many more alarm clocks. Thanks for watching. For my beeps who are still watching, I'm sorry for not uploading or streaming in a while. We'll have a post-mortem stream where I'll talk a little bit about what's going on behind the scenes and what's in the immediate pipeline, because no, I'm not done making videos or streaming, even if I do disappear for months at a time. Take care of yourselves, and remember, if you can't be the sharpest tool in the shed, you can always be the hoe. Would you believe that setting up arm tracking is actually make this worse?